Hi, welcome back everyone. So for today's video, we're going to talk about how to stop blundering. Everybody does it, it's very normal. Top players do it, so you will keep doing it. That's the bad news. The good news is you can blunder a lot less. In this video, my purpose is for you to identify which type of blunder you are making. And then if you recognize more than 3 types of blunder, just work on 3 and then maybe go back to this video. For anybody over 1,000, you can skip the first section. I will put it here to this skip to this minute, and under 1,000, watch the whole video like 20 times. Now the structure of the video is going to be fundamentals and preparation. Then we move on to tactical awareness, later strategic thinking, and finally mindset and decision making. Okay, let's start with this one. Okay, let's start with fundamentals and preparation. Failing to develop your pieces will lead to very hard complications. What you have to do is bring out your minor pieces. Minor pieces meaning the knights and bishops. Okay, so you bring out your knights and bishops. Don't bring your queen out too early. These are beginner accounts. White is playing is 400. This is a 400 rated player. So these are beginner accounts, really. They don't know what they're doing. First thing, you learn e4 and then d4. And you can also play c4. Maybe when you reach 2000 stage, you can play g4. But okay, they play g4. E5, I like that. Then d3. That looks a bit strange. Then I don't love this. But okay, black is developing their knight. Then moving the pawn again. That is a mistake. Just move three pawns at the beginning. Don't move the same pawn twice. Now, white is kind of forced. It's not forced, but it's bringing out the queen. And now at this point, black is slightly better, as he has two knights develop. And then white is thinking, okay, I'm gonna give a check. And black is much better at this point. What black has to do is just to bring the bishop here and then castle. Okay, we continue analyzing this game. A very common mistake I see is for beginners, they repeat moving the same piece. So do not do that. Do not move the same piece twice. Meaning this knight had already been moved. And now once the queen gives a check, you don't move the knight again to protect. That's what happened in the game. So avoid this mistake. Not castling and ignoring king safety can lead to huge blunders. So in this position, even though black has a lot of extra material, 9 points, you cannot be completely materialistic. So white still has some counter chances. You can take on b7. Now, if you're thinking, okay, I'm gonna attack the rook and win more material because I am attacking the rook and also the queen. Yeah, that actually just blunders the game. Always get your king to safety by castling, and you cannot just count material, but count your king safety. Creating weak pawn structure is a common problem that can lead to big blunders. So in this case, we see the queen's gambit accepted, and black is doing everything they can to protect the c4 pawn. And that's why you can punish it. Here you can take on b5, and if they take back, now you are hitting this rook. You're hitting the rook with the queen. So there is no way to defend it. Okay, make sure your pieces are always defended. So place your pieces on defended squares. In this case, you can exploit a weakness. White has done a very good job of developing their pieces, and black actually overextended a pawn. They play b5. You can pause the video now. Okay, so the move that you can find is e5. e5 is going to threaten this knight and this knight at the same time. So yeah, make sure your pieces are defended at all times. In this case, this knight is hanging. Alright, this is another example of placing pieces undefended. This looks like a normal game, but you still have to be smart enough to know what are the threats in the position. So what black has to do is just castle, and maybe start developing other pieces later, especially this knight, maybe, sorry, this bishop. But you still have a threat here. This bishop and this rook are very powerful pieces for white. Now, in the sense of developing pieces, black goes, oh, I'm just gonna play b6 and then develop my bishop. But this is a huge mistake because now white can play b5, and b5 threatens to play a fork of the rook and the king, and at the same time this knight is hanging. So you left a piece undefended by removing this pawn. If you don't know the theory, play solid moves. What do I mean by this? Let me show you what my opponent did. My opponent is playing white, I'm playing black. And he's bringing up his knight, okay. And now he's playing g4. Okay, this is a common line. I have seen this before, I have played this before. I'm not even an expert, but I'm just playing the best move, which is taking the knight in the center. Now, instead of taking back with the pawn, which is what my opponent has to do, no, they take my bishop, which was like, oh, it's just hanging. Now, yeah, but I can take now this bishop, and I am full a piece. I am up a piece. So if you don't know the exact response, what you have to do, then don't play this line. Just play solid moves. Okay, let's just bring the bishop here, and then castle. That will be a solid move. Otherwise, you're getting into trouble. And my opponent is like 1800 on lichess, so rating is overrated there. But okay, if you don't know the theory, just play solid moves. Okay, so if you have skipped to this moment, this summarizes pretty much I cover in this section. Now, this is the Caro-Kann. Everything is normal here. First, in most openings, you want to develop knights first, not the bishop first. So, okay, let's go. Okay, a mistake is to move the same piece twice. This is what black did, and now they get hit by the pawn. They have to repeat the move. So this is also a blunder. Do not take pawns just because it seems logical. There is no reason to rush in and take this pawn. So first develop your bishop. Yeah, you're neglecting development by taking this pawn, and now your king is in the middle of the board. So yeah, another blunder, another mistake, and everything piles up. So it's like one mistake after another, and it's very difficult to solve problems at this point. So, and you're getting hit by everything. The rook and the bishop is coming. This pawn is going to be pushed. So yeah, a few moves later, black resign. So yeah, just play solid moves, prioritize development, king safety. All right, let's start covering tactical awareness, which is one of the biggest areas when it comes to blundering. Now, the first thing we look for is checks, captures, and attacks. And if you don't have those, maybe you are going to think about something else. But here, let's check out this position. White is about to deliver mating one. So you have to do forcing moves. Now consider all checks. I want you to consider all checks, even the ones that don't seem to work at the beginning. So the only check we have here available, if you see any other, let me know in the comments. But the only check I see here is Queen A2. So this doesn't seem to work because we are just giving up the queen and like what is happening. But actually it works because now once we give up the queen, the king takes. Now we give a check again with the rook, and the king has to move. It doesn't matter which square. Now you can give a check here, and this is going to be a perpetual. This is a draw by repetition. So once the king moves, tries to escape, you keep giving a check, and now you just repeat back and forth. The second thing to look for is captures. So in this example, we have checks / captures available in the position. Feel free to pause the video now. Here, the thing to keep in mind is the alignment of the rook and the queen, and later you can also bring your other rook. So okay, here we can actually capture this pawn on g7, and once black takes back with the knight, now you take again with the rook. So can you find, this is also not so easy to see, but can you find the continuation? This is going to be mate in 3 from this position. So here you actually give up the rook. You actually give up the rook, delivering another check, and now you give again another check on g1 with the rook. Black has to give up the queen, and this is mate. This is checkmate. The best way to train your brain to spot these tactics is by solving puzzles. And you don't want to solve the 3000 puzzle. You want to solve simple tactics all the time. And as you make progress, then you will be able to solve harder puzzles. So this is another example where you have a combination of checks and attacks. So black is threatening to give a checkmate on g2. So all the moves from now on have to be forcing. So first thing, we look for checks. And the only check available in the position is to give up the queen. So we give up the queen first. Now, here we have the bishop pair. So we can use the bishop pair to keep giving checks and to deliver checkmate. So now we give a check. This is also a discover attack. And now once the king moves, you give a check again. And now this is going to be checkmate, as the king doesn't have any squares to escape. I have a nice simple example on an attack. Pause the video now. Try to find the best move if this is black to play. So I hope you found it. Here we're looking for a double attack, and you can go queen e8, attacking the rook and the bishop. So now you move, you might have to move the rook, and you can capture the bishop. So yeah, this is a double attack. Sometimes we fail analyzing the attacks on our pieces. I will show you here an example on how it actually works. But so let's see first. Now, it looks like this pawn is hanging. If I was playing a bullet game, I probably wouldn't take it if I don't know what is the exact continuation. So I know this, like if I take here, I know this rook is coming, and this queen is overloaded, right? This queen is defending this bishop, and I will have to defend this knight, and I'm also defending this pawn. So I probably wouldn't take it. But now that I have time to think, I go, okay, now I can take, if the rook comes, I have other resource in the position which is defending with this pawn. Probably he will also want to attack my rook again with the rook. So maybe I can defend it with my pawn, and he will challenge this pawn structure. But maybe I can just move my bishop, which I was worried about. And now he cannot just keep attacking this piece. So okay, that will be example on okay how many times your piece is being attacked. So this is an example on how sometimes calculating how many times a piece is being attacked is not going to work. So let's see this example. Black plays e5. And now if you're thinking, okay, I can take 3 times. I can take 3 times with my pieces. And black can only take twice, right? The pawn and the knight. So we can just take and we are better. However, black has a check. That's why we always look for checks, captures, and attack. Not only in our side, but the opponent's side. Now, if you are thinking, okay, maybe I can defend it with my queen. I can defend this square, and I'm also attacking the queen. Yeah, but that loses the queen. So yeah, this is a trap against the London, but that just shows the example on how this method doesn't work. So also be aware of these traps. Okay, our third section is going to be strategic thinking. So for the first concept, probably you watched this video with Gotham Chess, and he showed you how to think about danger levels. So if they're posing a threat on your piece, then maybe you can create a bigger or equal threat. The problem is not everybody can calculate that far ahead, and most likely you're going to miss a move. So in this one, black is in trouble. I mean, this bishop is hanging, but he was okay. Danger levels. So I'm going to, if they're threatening my bishop, I'm going to threaten their bishop with my knight, which actually is a good move in this position. But then instead of just keeping control of your pieces, white takes back, and then black keeps thinking, okay, danger levels. If my opponent takes this queen, I'm going to threaten his queen. But that is just a problem because you are missing a tactic. Here you can simply just take the rook, and they cannot take back without losing the queen. So recognize when danger levels work, or simply just play solid chess. Same thing here when danger levels doesn't work. So the opponent goes, okay, they're threatening to win my knight. Danger levels, I'm gonna take their bishop, but this is a blunder because now they can take twice here. White actually misses that. They were like, okay, I'm gonna take back. But yeah, so failing to recognize when danger levels doesn't work is gonna lead to big blunders. So not exchanging pieces when you're ahead can also lead to other blunders. So here, White is doing a very good job of trading pieces. Now is gonna gobble all the pawns on this side of the board, and now okay, improving your pieces, getting your piece to a better position, and now White actually misses. He should have taken this knight, and this bishop is going to be looking at this pawn. So yeah, just trade all pieces or most of the pieces, and also choose an endgame. Now you know that you're gonna gobble the pawns on this side of the board, and later the endgame that you have, the winning endgame, is pushing these pawns on this side of the board, and like it's gonna be very difficult for this bishop to defend this side, as you also have the light square bishop, the dark square bishop. So I have a video on the middle game and primarily on the end game for this concept. But if you keep your king inactive because you think that is going to be unsafe, once you have traded down most pieces, now it's safe to bring out your king into the game. So it was the same example from before. My student traded all pieces, but and he's completely winning as he's up a bishop, and he was like, I don't know what to do. So he kept repeating moves, and now you cannot even target these pawns, unfortunately. So yeah, he repeated moves, and that was a throw. I was like, okay, just bring your king slowly but surely, aim at this pawn, and later at these three pawns, and you will have at least one pass pawn on this side of the board. So yeah, just it's not going to be as quick, but you have a winning position here. Much like every piece of advice in chess, it's gonna have a counter rule, right? Because chess is specific. So here, too much simplification is not going to be beneficial, especially when the advantage is not clear. Here, the position is about equal. If anything, black has a disadvantage. So we have two pass pawns on this side of the board. That is the disadvantage for black. And now, but black wants to trade pieces, and now it's difficult to defend this position. You are not winning with black. So yeah, just be aware that if you don't have it clear how to win the game, then don't simplify for no reason. So another common mistake is to neglect how the opponent is threatening us, is threatening our pieces or our side of the board. In this case, black gets an outpost on d4 with the knight. The first thing I would do if I was white is trade this knight. Just get it to e2, and if they don't take, I just take this knight. But so white is overlooking, just like trying to win the game and play around this knight. You're asking for trouble. Do not ask for trouble. Play solid, because this is going to pile up. And now black even has this check. You're gonna lose the rook, and that's what actually happened in the game. So yeah, get rid of those outposts. Don't try to play around the threats of the opponent. I will use the same game to explain that some people give up center control. This is very important in pretty much every phase of the game, especially openings and middle game. So here, it looks very natural to go h3, but here you have an important tactic, which is like taking. You can actually take this knight. If they take your rook, you're given a check. So notice how my pieces are controlling a lot of the center, and black doesn't really have a lot of influence. The normal thing to do is focus on this four square, and if you cannot tackle or protect these four squares, then you cover the outer squares, and that's how you can have more influence in the game. As you can see, this knight is pinned. This bishop doesn't have any squares to move. This rook is dead too, so that's why this is completely winning for white. So for our last section, we're going to cover how we think, process chess, the mindset, and decision making. So I think one of the biggest blunders is to resign early. So we mentally resign sometimes because we think that we are down in material, but you can still fight. You can still find resources. This position is actually a situation where you absolutely don't have to resign. So my student resigned after the opponent took the pawn here. So I was like, why did you resign? There is a lot of things to play for. You have two continuation. One, here you can fork the two knights. So let's say that you fork the knights. If the knight goes back here, you can take the knight and then you recover the pawn. But this is an even cooler continuation. So if they take your pawn, now you take here with check, they have to take back. Now you are forking the knight, you're forking the knight and the king. So once they move, you're gonna recover here your piece. And yeah, this is not losing by any means. Okay, a second problem is having tunnel vision. You are thinking too much about your own plans and you're not considering the opponent's options. This is actually a game I was playing with black and I blundered horribly because I had tunnel vision. So here I cancel and then white plays a3. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go for this plan. I will go c5 and then b5 and I will kick out the knight. So if they take, which is what happened, if they take the pawn, I take this pawn, which is more important in my head. Like I was like, yeah, this pawn is more important than the b pawn, and I should be better. But I didn't continue to plan, and I was just completely blind by my own tunnel vision. So I would probably recommend drawing lines, but just be flexible too. Drawing the possibilities. Okay, where are my pieces going, and where are the opponent's pieces going? Right. So this is a blunder because now the bishop can go here. The bishop can fork the knight and the rook, and I cannot save the rook. So a very simple way to check for blunders in your own case and also the opponent's case is first, like, ask yourself questions, critical questions. Check where your opponent's move piece came from. Was it protecting anything? What was the job of that piece? And now check where the piece moved to. Is it attacking anything? So now we're gonna spot a blunder. I think for chess, very good chess players, they're gonna see this in a second. So yeah, rook c7. This is a huge blunder because now I can just take with the bishop, and yeah, it's protected by the queen, but it's not, yeah, it was just a huge blunder. Now we're gonna do one again for in our side. Okay, now when we move, also two simple step. Before you move, check where you are moving from. Are you allowing an attack because you will move away? And the second step is check where you are moving to. Can I be attacked there? So here in this case, I went rook b7. Maybe I cannot be attacked on this rank. There is no real threats. But now with the second question, I can be attacked there. Yes. If the queen takes, then I cannot take back because I lose my queen. So yeah, this was a huge blunder. It was a bullet game. So, but yeah, okay, my opponent moved away, but I was like, I thank you. Yeah, I can just move my rook and continue the game. Now, there is a concept I would like to call the gaming effect. Maybe we can ask a psychologist and he will rename this. But I have seen many players, including myself, to make the game more interesting from the beginning, to take unnecessary risks, or playing faster due to boredom or maybe overconfidence. So maybe you have dominated some part of the game and then you are bored, maybe playing the same lines, playing the same. So this can lead to missed opportunities and blunders. Now, I have seen a lot of this stuff lately where opponents they just launch pawns for no reason. And I play against this opponent 3 or 4 times. He kept doing the same thing. I was like, this is really, really weird. So chess is hard enough, it's complicated enough. My suggestion here is don't get bored of playing boring chess. So actually dominate the middle game and the end game, but don't overcomplicate yourself by thinking, oh yeah, I got this down to a science and I'm gonna make it as interesting and I will reinvent the wheel in chess because that's not gonna happen. So yeah, just don't get bored with playing boring chess. Sometimes you're going to be worse in a position, and if you don't see anything better, don't be afraid of repeating moves. Maybe you're going to play for a draw, and it's completely fine. So there is going to be times like that. In this position, I am playing black, and confirmed with the computer, I am down 2 points, 2.23. So I'm gonna move this knight like you will not believe. I am going to harass these rooks, and the opponent doesn't want to uh, give it away, give up control of this file. So okay, I'm just gonna keep repeating moves until he makes a mistake, or we just draw the game. So I'm happy with both results. So and now he's actually blundering the piece because now he has to move the rook and not a piece, but he's blundering the pawn. Now I can take the pawn, and guess what? The position is about equal now, but it's much difficult to play. And he has 38 seconds. I have 56 seconds. So yeah, don't be afraid of repeating moves. If the win is not for you, it's fine. But you can also wait for your opponent to make a mistake in this situation. Okay, if you have made it until this point, I wanna give you this piece of advice. I want you to think about yourself as a predator on the chessboard, not anywhere else in life. But I think of myself as a snake. A snake can wait for long periods of time until they eat their prey. So what I mean by this is I will show you also the graph of the game. Everything is about equal. We have reached move 33, and the opponent makes the mistake to take my bad bishop for his very good knight. This knight was very powerful, covering a lot of squares. It's a beautiful outpost. Now, once I take, the opponent is also running out of time. This pawn is hanging, and my rooks are coming. So, yeah, this is a great move. I have now an advantage of 3.3, and I even go here, like really slow. What? Yeah, he cannot take. He cannot take because I will fork the two pieces. That's what happened, and he resigned. So you can just wait for your moment to strike. So think of yourself, choose other animal. Yeah, I'm just choosing the snake. But yeah, here also the accuracy I have is 88.9%. So yeah, it's almost like a 2200 valuation. So yeah, just be patient. Okay, so my last piece of advice will be review your games. That's also a mistake. Just playing all day and not learning anything from your mistakes, then that just leads to blunders. And also don't play bots. Play computers. Some of my students like to play bots. Just play humans. Sorry, play humans, and yeah, that's the best thing you can do to train your brain. Okay, so please comment, like, and subscribe. Join the community, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.